Hello everyone, welcome to the video where I show you how to set up your iCloud so that you can back up your data and also to use the Find My iPad feature in case your iPad is ever lost, stolen, or damaged. So first I need you to load up the Settings app on your iPad. Once you've loaded up the Settings app, down a little ways on the left you'll find the iCloud button. Click on it. Now everyone's going to be on a slightly different position here. If you have an existing iCloud, maybe you already have an iPhone, a personal iPod, or another iPad. If you have a personal existing iCloud account, you may log in with this and still use these same features with your personal account. However, if you would like, you can have both a personal and school account. So if you want to keep two separate iCloud accounts, you would want to click Create a new Apple ID and create your school one. I have to warn you though, it's best to remember the username and password for both, and also remember which iClouds are set up on which devices of yours. Now if you've never used iCloud before, this is your first experience with an iDevice from Apple and you don't have an iCloud, go ahead and also click on Create a new Apple ID. For those that have existing iClouds, if you're having trouble remembering your password, you can use Apple's I Forgot system by clicking on Forgot Apple ID. And then once you've retrieved it or you already know it, just log in with your iCloud username and password up here. For those that have to click on Create a new Apple ID, once you click on it, it will load you through steps to pick a username, pick your password, and once you've done that, it'll automatically log you into your iCloud. So everyone go ahead and either log in with an existing one or create a new one. I have to stress again though, you must remember the username and password you're currently creating because it's important for the Find My iPad and syncing feature in case your iPad is lost, damaged, or stolen. So after you've logged in or created an Apple ID for iCloud, you're going to be brought to this screen. Again, you can find it just by going to Settings iCloud. Now after you log in, there are two things that I absolutely require my students and even staff to turn on just to make sure that their iPads are set up in case something were to happen. The one's a little less important than the other, but still a good idea. That one is Apple Notes. If you use the Apple Notes for anything, whether it be just basic note-taking or just like a to-do list, it's good to turn that on so you know every time your iPad backs up, those notes are being backed up as well. But the one that I think is priority that everyone should have on is the Find My iPad feature. When you turn that on, and if your iPad is lost, damaged, or stolen, we can log into the iCloud website with that username and password, which is why it's so important you remember it, and track the iPad down to pretty much within about 10-20 feet of its location. We've used it in the past and it's always worked well, but it only works for those students that turn it on and remember their username and password. The other things like photos, mail, contacts, and calendars, Safari, documents, data, that's all optional to me. If you want that information synchronizing with this device, you can turn it on. But I have to also warn you, your free iCloud account only comes with 5 gigs of storage space. So if you back up a lot of photos, you might go over that 5 gig amount. So please watch how many photos are in your camera roll, your Photos app, and for those people that have the iCloud turned on to back up photos. Otherwise it'll give you an error and it won't back anything up at all until you get those photos down to an amount that's under 5 gigs so that the iPad can finish its backup. Now I'm on iOS 8. For those that are on iOS 7, this next step, please pay careful attention. You also need to initiate your iPad to start backing up. So if you're an iOS 7 user, you're going to have a button down here that pretty much spans the entire width of this frame over here that'll say Storage and Backup. You'll want to click on that. For those that might be on iOS 8, depending on when you're watching this video, you'll want to click on this, Backup. Both, if you're on iOS 8, Storage and Backup button, or Backup button here in iOS 8 will take you to this screen. And this is the backup screen. You'll want to turn on your iCloud backup, and if it's the first time you're turning it on, it'll probably turn up saying last backup never or something to that effect. So you're going to want to click Backup Now, but before you do that, I need to advise you that the first backup always takes the longest because it's backing up all that data for the first time. So I would suggest doing it at home. Just turn it on, let it go for a couple hours. You know you successfully backed up your iPad when it says last backup and it has a date and a timestamp. Some indication that yes, this is the most recent backup. Now, if you need to, let's say, back up your iCloud right away, you don't want to wait for it to automatically back you up the following night, then you would just repeat these steps. You would go to Settings, go to iCloud, you would click on Backup if you're in iOS 8 or Storage and Backup in iOS 7, and you would click the Backup Now button. And that would force the iCloud to connect and back up. Every backup after the first one usually goes pretty quickly as long as you don't have a lot of new data. Typically mine only take about, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes at the most sometimes. If you're having trouble setting up your iCloud to back up and to also use the Find My iPad feature, please get a hold of me. One more thing before I leave. You might have noticed when you turn on the Find My iPad feature, it will prompt you to create an email address. And in that event, go ahead and create one. You could use your first and last name at iCloud.com, but again, just make sure it's something you remember. And again, if you're having any trouble, please feel free to get a hold of me. I'm in room 204 here at the high school. My name's Mr. Messerall. Or you're free to also message me on my big campus. Just search for Messerall when you're composing a new message. Thanks, and have a great day.